Good morning or good afternoon. Hello, Carol. I have a whole lot of Sister Schubert's rolls. It's a long story, but I need to get at least one bag out of my freezer. So I'm going to make Keeneland bread pudding today. I'm not a sweet eater, but I'll eat a small portion. And I can give it away to my doormen, my porters, my neighbors, all kinds of people. So I'll start with you. And for some strange reason, it's a 275 degree oven. I can't remember the last time, other than like cooking slow and low meat, something that's that low. But here we go. I'm going to bring this baby to 275. Who else has joined us today? Oh, still just Carol. So I'm going to have this because the idea of 12 cups of bread, hello Denise, is beyond my comprehension. I may have to play fake it like you know I love to do. So it's so close. I'm so excited. I can see the shelves on in all of my refrigerator. So it's almost going to grocery time. So let's see how much milk I have. I do not believe I have the 4 cups, but I have something really close to 3 cups. And I have heavy cream. I've got quite a lot of heavy cream. I think I can make this work. Hello, Kathy. How are you? So you know how even when I follow a recipe, I can't follow a recipe. So I have all these Sister Schubert's rolls that have to go out of my fridge. It's a long story, but they're there, and now half of them are gone, and I'm thrilled. Hello, Genia. And so David Faulkner, who many of you know, Tracy Faulkner's dad, posted in the lead up to what should have been Derby, he posted Keeneland's bread pudding, and it's made with Sister Schubert rolls. So I said, Lord have mercy, that's the way to get rid of some of these. So I am emptying out a lot of stuff. I now have here 4 cups of milk. I say milk, not 4 cups, 4 cups of milk, because again, I didn't quite have 3 cups, so I'm making it work with a little, stretching it with heavy cream and a little water that's rinsed out. This is a half portion because I can't fathom 12 cups of bread and 8 cups of milk and 8 eggs. That's just like, wow, that's more than I can make. Hello, Ed. How are you? So here we go. And if the music is too loud, you can yell at me. Oh, yeah, it's too loud. There we go. Sir Arthur Sullivan. So you might know Arthur Sullivan from Gilbert and Sullivan, but Arthur Sullivan was a serious musician who wrote not just crazy, topsy-turvy musicals in which the world has gone amok, but there you go. My sugar is sticking a little bit, so I gotta knock it loose so it'll come down in here. What the heck is going on in my regular sugar bowl? So for those of you who use white sugar, you're thinking, what the heck is Ellisa putting in here? I try to buy things that have been handled less by man. So this is naturally occurring sugar. That's still too much sugar. Here we go. And so my sugar hasn't been bleached, and that's why there's a champagne color to my sugar, which is even more obvious when you see it next to my milk. But the only time because I'm not a baker and I'm not a sweet eater, I don't use sugar for anything except this one little scoop that I put into my coffee in the morning, and I don't even get around to drinking coffee every morning. Hello, Miss Sale, how are you? So we're making Keeneland bread pudding this morning. I'm making a half portion. I've got 4 cups of milk, a cup of sugar. It also calls for 4 eggs, and it calls for a half cup of yellow raisins. I hate raisins. In the same way that I prefer bread to pasta because the crust is the best part of the bread, I prefer wine to dried up grapes. I can't do them. They're hardly ever okay. But I don't mind other kinds of dried fruit, but I have dried cranberries. So I'm going to use those. And these are a couple of weeks old, so it's good to get them rotated through. It also calls for a tablespoon of cinnamon and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. So my oven is heating up over here and also making my little secret top here warm up. So I should probably move these over. I had put this out here to give my Sister Schubert's the time and the space to thaw out a little bit. But I have learned the hard way that this guy can burn. So we don't want the oven being on to burn this little fella anymore. Okay, so I've got my crock here, and let's see, let's start where it says to start, which is we're supposed to take our milk. Milk. And it's nice and sticky because of all the cream I put in there. And the sugar. And we're supposed to mix that together. I don't like all that sticking cream, so I'm going to save that. This is not, it's bread pudding, for goodness sakes. Anything that's really eggs and milk is about the eggs and the milk. And having made eggs your whole life, that it's not a precise science. And so, hello Kentucky, and Sale, isn't it a wonderful, wonderful thing to get to go to Keeneland? There's kind of a running theme in movies and things where adults get very upset that you've taken a child to the racetrack, and I'm like, what child doesn't go to the racetrack? Whose mama and daddy didn't love them enough to sneak them out of school early on the first beautiful spring day in April and take them to Keeneland? My daddy always said that if I sat down with the old Irish trainers and listened to them and how they handicapped horses, it was the best math lesson I'd ever learned. And I think he's exactly right. So now I've got my eggs, 4 eggs, 4 cups of milk, 1 cup of sugar in here. And if I hadn't been telling stories, I might have done something like mix the eggs and milk together first. And then I might have thought it was easier to put beaten eggs into here, but there was literally like this much instruction, so I don't think that you can mess this up. So here we go. And I could probably use a bigger mixing bowl, but I don't have the house for a bigger mixing bowl. I do have the giant biscuit bowl up here, but that's a terrible, terrible thing to have to get out, climb up there, risk your life, breaking your neck. So there's an egg yolk that just doesn't want to break. You can do it. Come on, baby. Oh, well, I'll just have to bang you. All right, so another thing we're going to have to do here is mix in the vanilla and the cinnamon. So let's do that. I'm not even sure how my vanilla opens. That's how little I bake. All right. Here we go. 2 of these. All right. Now, I probably, if I weren't trying to follow the recipe, I probably wouldn't have used vanilla, but would have used bourbon, because it also calls for finishing with a bourbon sugar, confectioner's sugar glaze. And so I probably would, the next time, unless this is just blow my socks off perfect, I would put bourbon in the egg mixture too, because isn't the best vanilla bourbon vanilla, right? So here we go. Now am I gonna just, I'm sure just gonna come splatting all out. Here we go. Not quite. We're almost there. I know this is like patience of Job, right? Here we go. I appreciate your patience while I measure it out. It wasn't a tablespoon. It was 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And, oh, you know what? It probably should have been 1. I'm probably not remembering. I'm probably conflating the full for the half and the half for the full. So see me? Not so good. Even a good actress needs a couple of run-throughs before she memorizes everything, right? So I have ordered myself a magnetic whiteboard that can go here, and I can write everything down on the front of my refrigerator moving forward. So hopefully that will come in the not too distant future. And I can start getting a little bit better about this and not just being all floopy and flaky in the kitchen. So, I guess the next thing to do is get this ready to go. And those in here and this put away. Isn't it nice when the kitchen is tidy after you've finished the whole process? I love to walk out and know that it's all I have to listen for is the timer. So this needs probably a little greasing. So I'm going to grab some butter and play with that. I figure these days your hands can totally use the butter, right? So give that a good rub around. My mother I always forget to do this step, and my mother comes running at me with a can of Pam like I'm some kind of house vermin. She's like, no, I'll have to clean forever. And I guess when you've had to cook for all the lot of us all these years, you might have to be really, really careful about things like stuff that might stick in your pots and pans. So now I've got to burn this off. Don't forget salt. It doesn't call for salt. But it's just bread pudding, bourbon bread pudding. The Keeneland, I mean, I'll double check. I don't think it calls for salt. Let's see. Of course, I'm not sure. I'll probably lose my music. It's the darn time. I've really, really got to get it all together here. I need a lot more devices working for me. But, let's see. Pause. And, let's see. Where is my recipe? Is here. I am so not the most organized person here. Here it is. Cinnamon raisins, rolls, vanilla, egg, sugar, milk. And then the bourbon sauce is a 1/4 cup of butter, a cup of powdered sugar, and 1/8 cup of bourbon. That hardly even sounds like it's worth getting the bourbon out for. But anyway, buttered. And now I'm supposed to put these into 1-inch cubes before I put them in the whole meshigas. So that seems like 1 inch there. Perfect. So I pulled these out about a half an hour ago. No heat, no nothing. They seem to have thawed out perfectly. So I, in January, did the first of what was supposed to be many, teaching people how to throw a cool derby party. All the things you needed, the cocktails you needed to make, the food you needed to make, other things you could do with your leftover bourbon when it was over with. And so I thought I was going to do several of them over the course of the spring, leading up to one on the 28th, I think, of April. And so when I had extra Sister Schubert's rolls, I was just saving them. Now they're haunting my life, taking up vast amounts of space in my freezer, and I have to get rid of them. And it seems nicer to give them away in the form of bread pudding by the plate than to just be like, would you please take these rolls that have been in my freezer? Please take the rolls. Please take them. I don't know remember what it says to do, but I'm going to do that. And I am going to see if I can turn Mr. Sullivan back on. There we go. Sir Arthur Sullivan. He didn't just write funny musicals with Mr. Gilbert. So, I'm cutting these babies up. I don't think that this is going to be challenging at all. It does. Pardon the fire truck going by. It calls for this to bake in your greased pan for an hour and a half at 275. So low and slow. You don't want, I guess, anything to really caramelize or burn in any way. So here we go. Get all these babies in here. So it called for 6 cups of bread. I'm calling each one of these a half a cup. I have no idea if I'm right or not, because as you know, guys, even when I try to follow a recipe, I'm just phoning it in. Especially today. I didn't sleep very well. It was one of those days where I kind of woke up at 2 a.m. and took a melatonin to force the issue. So I'm not really functioning on all of my cylinders today. And that's fine, because thank the Lord I have, after 7 or 8 crazy busy days, I have a day where I can attend to some things that I need to take care of. And I always welcome a good house day, a good, and I don't mean Ellisa day in a like take care of me day, but like take care of stuff that's on my list of to-dos. So I'm telling you, I think maybe I could probably force a few more in there. But now let's see what kind of a mess I'm about to make. Okay. Here we go. Alright. We definitely are going to need a ladle of some kind, or this is going to become some sort of a splashing, terrible splashing mess for me. So here we go. So did everyone enjoy their Taco Tuesday last night? I saw a lot of tacos out there. I absolutely adored mine. And y'all, this is way more than one. So hold the phone. Okay. I'm going to make a second, because there is just nothing that is more horrifying than the thought of egg and milk bubbling up and going out onto the inside of my not self-cleaning oven. So let's grease this one up too and do a little overflow. Ah, yes, doing it on the fly. This means now I can take one down the hall and then I can cut this one in half. I'll have 3 really nice portions here. I think that's awesome. Great. Now, I need to steal probably some juice from the other one. So how am I going to do this? I'm first not going to use all of this. Am I just talking to myself now at this point? Yes, I am. Here we go. So let's just let that sit for a second. Now I really do need a ladle. Here we go. Here's a ladle. Watch me steal my mixture. It's like siphoning gas from a tank, right? You guys are so kind to just sit here patiently while I keep making mistakes and trying to fix them. And there we go. Now that looks more like something that won't spill over, and that makes me feel so much better, because I really do not enjoy the cleaning the oven portion of the year. Here we go. Now, I think that this can take another little bit of bread right in there to make that absolutely perfect and beautiful. I can put the last right here. And now I've got 2 really beautiful bread puddings going to here. So now that lesson be learned, when you come and look at this, pardon me, at the Keeneland bread pudding recipe, it called, I think, for a 9x13 pan. I do not see that double this would have fit there. So start out, if you're going to make it, and make a half portion. So the tree pollen is killing me. And so what have you girls been talking about while I've been doing all this kind of stuff? Nobody's sleeping well. Oh, and the berries. Thank you for saying berries. I do have these berries that can go in, and they need to be used. So let's get them on here. Beautiful. Oh, that'll actually be really lovely, I think. I might even eat a bite of this. There we go. And maybe I'll make a bourbon cream to go with this. Wouldn't that be good? So let's see who all has come along. A little bit of salt to sweet dishes there. I absolutely agree with that. It does make the sweet sweeter in a really nice way. So guys, that's really all I have going here today. I'm going to put these in. It's an hour and a half to cook this. So I will absolutely post a picture so that everybody can see what the next part is. And maybe when that's done, we'll of course have to make the other, but I don't have confectioner sugar. And I might even see between now and the hour and a half when this is done, if there's something I can do to make my own confectioner sugar, because I hate to buy a pound of something that I'm just really not going to use. So anyway, that's my story, guys. That's it. 2 pretty little bread puddings ready to go. Do you think that they want me to put them in covered? Let's find out. Ay, ay, ay. Here it is. It says, pour bread pudding in a prepared pan, top with raisins, and press in the raisins. It does not say to cover it. So I'm guessing that low temperature is enough to satisfy the fact to keep it from burning. It does say to press in the raisins. So let me press in my cranberries. Let's get those pressed in. Get those smushed down in there. Here we go. Oh yeah, that'll probably make them better. They'll get all mushy and wet down there in the egg mixture. Oh, I think that's a really good idea. I like this. Here we go. And I kind of, in this one, I kind of got lazy and didn't really smush it evenly around. Okay, that is a much better plan, I'm sure. All right, so I think they're ready to go in the ovens now. Oh, if only I had ovens. And let's push this out of the way. And will you both fit? I hope so. I do have a tiny oven, but God bless you. You've never failed me, you sweet little thing. 1 and 2. All right. So I'll be setting my timer for an hour and a half. And I'll see you guys tomorrow or later this afternoon, or show you pictures, but it already smells really delicious and cinnamony in here. So, love you guys. Have a great day. Ciao.